Welcome to North Georgia Business RadioX. I'm your host, Bo Henderson, here with Dr. Bill Lampton. How's it going, Dr. Bill?
Just terrific, Bo.
So we're getting a little closer to the holiday season, and that doesn't stop us having great businesses to talk to and learn more about what they're doing and the people behind them.
We've got two exciting guests today, as always.
Well, let me start right off the bat. This is really exciting to me. So I want to bring in Amanda Wilbanks with Southern Pie Company. Hey, Amanda.
Hey, Bo. How are you?
Good. Well, tell me. So I was telling you before the show, I'm a big fan because a couple years, I think my 40th birthday, I just told how old I was.
Oh, goodness.
We had several special ordered pies come in from Southern Pie Company, and I have to say I'm a fan.
I love it. Thank you so much. I heard you got the key lime, which is a fan favorite. People love that one.
That's a special order, right?
That's a special order one. You got lucky.
Well, what I want to ask is, how did this come to be? Did you always know, hey, I want to bake, I want to cook, or did this just kind of shift through life's events and happen? How did you come up to do this business?
You know, I went to the University of Georgia and graduated with a degree in marketing and took a job selling insurance with State Farm. So I thought, I'm going to be a State Farm agent and own my own insurance agency. So I did it for a year and I enjoyed it, and I felt that I was good at sales, but I just didn't. I was living in Atlanta and wanted to move closer back home. So I ended up leaving my job, and my parents thought I had lost my mind. I had given up a great career, and they said, what happened to our daughter? She graduated from UGA in 3 years with honors, and now she has quit her first job after a year. But I said, I'll figure it out.
Sounds like parents, doesn't it, Bo?
That's right.
And I would think my kids were crazy if they did what I did. But I came home, and I ended up getting married, and my mother-in-law came into town and taught me how to make my first homemade pie. And really, the business started from there. I started giving the pies away to neighbors and friends, and then my husband said one day, why don't you try and sell some pie? So I baked a lot of pies. That was on a Tuesday. I started baking pies, made a business logo on Word, and called the company Buttermilk Pie. That was the first pie I had ever made. Now we're Southern Baked Pie Company. But I started on a Tuesday and baking and started selling pies on Thursday at a local festival called Mule Camp.
Right.
And that is where I got my start in the pie business.
And you haven't looked back?
I really have never looked back. I love what I do every day. I feel so passionate about it, and so I have never looked back.
One thing that occurs to me, Amanda, is that with many of us, when we think of pies, there's a good bit of nostalgia there. We might think of grandmother and family gatherings back in a time when many women were staying at home and cooking. That was what they did. We had 3 meals a day, and some of us can remember when we would have dessert at lunch and we would have dessert at dinner. So to me, it's your company fulfills something in the way of memory satisfaction.
I completely agree. Our motto is celebrate life with pie, and there's so many special life moments and memories. We have a lot of times when somebody's grandmother has passed away. I've heard it multiple times. The person will come in the shop and say, my grandmother made the most wonderful pecan pie, and when I eat your pecan pie, it tastes like hers, and it reminds me of hers. So I do think it's nostalgic, it's comforting, it's warm, and I think it's what we need and during these times right now.
Well, they do say like smells and I believe taste, they can really bring back memories
Oh,
stronger
yes.
than some of the other senses.
They do.
Well, Amanda, what about this? We talk about sweet and savory pies. Give us kind of a rundown of what's on the menu, so to speak.
So our menu has grown quite a bit since I first started. I started with 4 pies, a caramel pecan, a chocolate chess, an apple pie, and a French coconut custard. All of those were family-inspired recipes. And now we have grown to include savory pies, which are chicken pot pie, taco pie, tomato pie. We do quiches. So the assortment has truly grown over the years. We keep our core 4 in the stores, all 4 of our stores at all times. And I don't think we'll ever get rid of those, but we have added in that savory component, which is nice on a night when you don't want to cook dinner. Just swing by and get a chicken pot pie and dinner's done.
I don't know. Bill, I like that. We could go get dinner, and then maybe even afterwards we could just get dessert. You could just do a whole meal and dessert. In
Yeah,
one stop.
I'll take the dinner and you take the dessert, Bo.
That sounds perfect.
Well, another thing that comes up, so I'm on the way home from work, stop in and get a pie that's available, but I also saw there's some in your operation, there seems to be some capacity. So if I had a big order or an event or something, we could do that too.
Exactly. A lot of people think we're this small pie shop, which we are, but we also have the capability to produce a massive amount of pies. We ship pies all over the United States, so a lot of companies will use them for corporate gifts or events. We do orders of 1,000 pies, or we've done orders of 2,000 pies. The other day we did 5,000 bite-sized tassies for a company out of Chicago, actually. So we have the capacity to ramp up and really satisfy a corporate company's needs, not just the individual person's needs.
Well, as a communication guy, one of the questions I want to ask is, how have you spread your message so effectively and so widely?
You know, in the beginning, I didn't have hardly any funds. I started the company with less than $400 in my bank account. So I use social media as the best way to spread our message. We use Instagram, Facebook, and we do a ton of email marketing. So in the very beginning at events, I would take and lay out a yellow legal notepad, and I would just say, sign up with your name and email, and we'll add you to our contact list. And I said at my second event I think I ever did, I said, we ship pies all over the United States, and I had never shipped a pie in my life. So all these people signed up on the email list, and I just kept building that email list and put it into constant contact. And then businesses reached out and said, oh, you said you did corporate gifting. Can you ship 50 pies for us? So I started shipping pies out of my house, and it's just kind of grown from there. We have never paid for any advertising, if you can believe it.
Wow, that's amazing. So what would be the mix, Amanda, of the marketing background and just kind of learning as you go? What would you say?
Well, we definitely learn every day as we go. 7 years into this, I'm still learning something new all the time. I think having the marketing background from Terry really taught me like how to sell the product. So there's a sales process to follow, and I work really hard to figure out what people's needs are. And if I can figure out somebody's need, I can take my product and match my product's benefits to that person's needs. So I really do think that is the Terry College of Business, honestly, and the marketing program has been the core of some of my success and ability to grow this company.
One of the things we hear about so much, health and nutrition. In what way does your company fit that?
You know, I would not say that our pies are low fat in any way, but we do work to make sure that we use all local fruit from local growers. Our chicken pot pie, we use antibiotic-free and hormone-free chicken, Springer Mountain chicken, all white meat chicken. So we get all of our eggs locally here in Gainesville from the hatchery. So much of our stuff is very local and is much healthier than going out to eat where everything is loaded with salt and MSG and all kinds of extra added flavors that are not necessarily healthy, so that you think it tastes better when it actually doesn't. Just simple, good, clean food tastes so good if it's prepared correctly.
Well, and not only that, heck, we need to splurge once in a while, don't we?
That's exactly right.
Well, a question. So has the internet impacted? I mean, is it online now where people can just go order a pie, have it delivered? Is it?
That's one of the best parts of our business. So we started shipping pies out of my house 7 years ago, and you could order online. And now our packaging is, I would say, almost perfect after 7 years of trying to figure it out. We ship pies in dry ice, so you go online, you can order any of our pies. We sell petite pies online, so you can order a 6-pack variety pack and ship to a friend who's been sick or to a client as a thank you gift or for a referral gift. So the online business has truly grown tremendously, and that's also kind of been attributed to some of the press we've received. We've been on the Food Network, we've been on the Hallmark Channel, Southern Living. We were Garden and Gun's top gift pick to ship for 2018, I'm sorry, the top holiday gift. So I think some of that press has really helped catapult our website sales.
Well, let's even build on that. So just to let listeners know, this isn't just a little pie shop over there in the corner. Let's talk about the operation, how it's grown, and the whole operation, really.
For sure. So we've grown from one pie shop in Gainesville, Georgia, called Buttermilk Pie Company, and now we have 4, one in Vinings, one in Buckhead, right across from on Peachtree Road, one in Alpharetta, across from the Avalon, and then we have a 6,000 square foot production facility where we ship and warehouse and so forth.
That's quite a journey there.
It has been a journey.
How many years do we say?
7 years.
7 years.
7 years.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, so we talked about kind of the senses of the taste and the smell and the memories. Let's do a visual exercise. So somebody out there thinking about the holidays, help me create a visual idea of what might be a good scenario for the holidays for us to involve Southern pie.
Pie. I love that. So for the holidays, I say do what you do well and then let somebody else take care of the stuff that you don't love to do or don't do as well. So I say delegate to Southern Baked Pie Company. We will make your pecan pie and your pumpkin pie. And I think everybody should have a chocolate chess pie on their table, something with nuts, something with chocolate, and then you can't have Thanksgiving without the pumpkin pie and the pumpkin pie spice there. And I think another fun idea is to do individual pies at each person's place setting, because I know in my family, everybody requests a different pie. So I say get each person a little petite pie. They're $10 and have it sitting at their place setting. And people get so excited. They sit down, they see that dessert, and they can't wait to finish their meal to get to that delicious dessert.
Well, I like that. The customization, even the business gifts. I was thinking of some clients when you were talking about that. There's just a lot of application. So it's a lot more than just pies.
It really is. I really love sharing that, you can celebrate any occasion in life with pie. A promotion, somebody gives you a referral, send them a pie as a thank you gift, because it makes people's life a little easier. I think we're all so busy now and running around. It's nice when you come home and somebody shipped you a chicken pot pie and a pecan pie. Dinner is done for your family, and you don't have to do anything but heat it in the oven. Right. So it makes a fun gift.
One of the things that Bo and I constantly mention on this show is the importance of entrepreneurs. We deal with many small business owners. There's some lessons to me in what you've told us, Amanda. One is you don't have to stick with your first job just because you started. That's not what you have to do. You also can look at what people's needs are, and if you can be creative, you can meet them. And also, I think it's important that you have a larger vision, as you have had. You don't just have to stay only in your own locale. You can reach beyond that. That's important for every entrepreneur, Bo.
That is. And, as we're thinking, I'm listening to, I'm sure people are like, these pies sound pretty fancy, some of them, But there's price ranges that fit everybody, right?
Yeah,
depending on what you're looking for.
Exactly. That's the great thing. So our prices start at $4.95. So you can come in for just a slice of pie. You don't have to feel like, I have to go buy this whole pie that I'm not going to eat all at one time. And then we can customize gifts that go as high as $75, $125. So, but the pies are $35 in the store, and they're 10-inch extra deep pie shells. So they'll feed a good 8 to 10 people. And then our petite pies are $10, and they'll feed 1 to 2 people. So our chicken pot pies are a great dinner option in the petite size version, because where else can you go and get like a homemade, truly, home-cooked meal for $10 somewhere? So we fit a variety of price ranges.
Well, somebody listening saying, hey, this is making my mouth water a little bit.
Just like ours.
A little excited here. What's the best way to find out more? Is it the website? Is it stop in? What do you think?
I think the best way to find out more is to go to the website at southernbakedpie.com, southernbakedpie.com, and then to stop into one of our stores. Call us. We'll help customize a gift for you, or we'll help have your dinner ready. When you stop in on your way home, we'll bake it for you so it's hot and ready, and you take it home with you.
One more time, southernbakedpie.com?
southernbakedpie.com.
One more thing before we let you off the hook here, Amanda. Biggest lesson you've learned that's helped you to grow this business on the journey so far? What would you say?
Not taking no for an answer.
Okay.
There's clients that I've called on there was one client I remember very vividly in my mind. I called on him for 5 years, and he said no every single year for client gifts. And on the 5th year, he said, you have been so persistent, and you followed up every single year, I'll give you the business. And that was a huge accomplishment to me.
The power of persistence.
The power of follow-up and persistence.
It reminds me, I was speaking to a group of automobile salesmen one time, and afterwards one told me his secret, which is very much like yours. He said there was one man he sold a luxury car to, and I said, well, how did you do it? He said, I called him every day for a year.
Exactly. Yes, that's the best way to do it.
Well, Amanda Wilbanks, thank you so much for stopping by North Georgia Business Radio X. I appreciate the work you're doing at Southern Baked Pie, and people check it out at southernbakedpie.com.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. That was exciting. I can't wait till I'm going to go ahead and tell our listeners there's a sample here. So I'm kind of ready to get into the show, but I do want to hear from our next guest.
And our next guest is Garon Hart of Garon Hart Graphic Design. Since 1987, Garon has been creating clean, effective designs that cut through the clutter and get results. He specializes in marketing materials, books, reports, posters, magazines, newsletters, and logos. And Garon, I think the first question I would ask is, what is the importance, the significance, the value of design in business? I mean, somebody might say, well, I'm going to save some money. I'm just going to sketch out something myself.
First of all, thanks for having me here. I appreciate it. I listened to several podcasts before I came, and you guys do a great job and a lot of good information.
Delighted to have you
Thanks.
included.
And what I do notice is that every time it always seems to get to branding, most of your clients, no matter who it is, it always gets to their branding, their image, or whatever. So design is an important part of branding. It's not all about branding. Branding, of course, is the way you greet a customer when they come into your shop or answer the phone or whatever. But design is an important part of branding because it effectively communicates your message to your audience. And the better your design, the better that message is.
So as we're getting into design, Garon, is it a process of, hey, let's interview and let's talk a while so I can really understand what you're about, what we're trying to convey?
Correct.
I mean, it sounds like we're really trying to dig deep and get something that conveys a message.
Exactly. I have to be honest, a lot of my clients are independent marketing people or in-house marketing departments. So they have a pretty good idea of what their marketing plan is before they get to me. But we always try to find out the most we can about a company, who the company is, what they do, who their audience is, and that helps in coming up with a more effective design, no matter what it is, website, brochure, logo, on your online presence.
Do you try to reflect what the company is or what the company wants to achieve, or is it a combination?
It's definitely a combination. All that goes into effectively telling the story about that company. So it's important to find out everything you can about the person that owns it, the people that work there, and what their audience is.
And we were talking earlier before the show about sometimes just signing a project to a big firm. Talk to me a little bit, Garon, about the difference when you're kind of the point man. I'm talking to the person actually doing the work.
Exactly. That's my niche. A lot of times a company just needs a brochure or they just need a logo. They don't need the full-blown marketing plan, and that's where I come in. I do a lot of work for my clients. Range from large corporations to, one-person shops of their own. I mean, I've done 300-page technical manuals for Southwire in Carrollton, and I've done logos for a pest control company in Cumming. So it's a wide variety. I think I've done work for just about every hospital in the city area, except North Georgia. That's another story. I just moved here, though, so I'm working on that.
That's right.
Well, one of the things that I heard about branding was branding is not what you say about yourself. Branding is what everybody else says about you.
Exactly. That's exactly true.
And so what you try to do is get them saying the right things about you.
Yeah, if somebody wants a logo, I have a questionnaire, and they fill it out, and it's not extensive, and your marketing budget doesn't have to be huge, to have a good logo. But I ask them questions about themselves, what color palettes they like, what their competition is, what imagery they would like to see, and I just research and work on it till they're satisfied.
I'd be curious to know to what extent video comes into play. Some of the top-notch marketing professionals that I've relied on for 20 years, we've had some conversations recently, and one of the things they're saying is that with attention spans being so short, one thing is that articles are not as popular as they once were. People are not going to read as much. Probably, I'm thinking maybe the websites are more concise. Everything's much more compact because very few people are going to say, well, I'll look at this website for an hour, or I'll read this brochure for an hour.
Exactly. I think if I'm doing a website for somebody and they've written, the Gettysburg Address, I suggest to them that they probably should pare it down because of people's attention span. But video, I don't do video, but I do suggest people that do websites that they should have a video on there. I think it's important.
And videos, from my experience, when I first went into my own communication business 20 years ago, if you send somebody a 20 to 30-minute video, they might watch it. They won't now. They prefer...
Not that long, maybe.
No,
maybe
they prefer
a couple minutes,
three to 5 minutes, maybe.
But I've been on your website. There's a lot of good information on there.
Thank you.
Well, Garon, so for somebody out there listening, and a lot of our listeners are businesses. They're business owners that a lot of them have been on the show and they continue to listen, which is kind of cool.
Sure.
But give us maybe the top 3 or 4 things that are the most common things that you help people with, so people get really clear, okay, this might be something that fits what I need.
I do. My projects entail a wide variety, but I do a lot of logos, logo design. And with that, I do small, depending on the company, a style guide, how to use that logo, color palettes, fonts, things like that, so they can be consistent in their marketing efforts. I really love doing magazines. There was a time where I might have done 6 or 7 magazines, a lot of alumni magazines. In fact, I do the alumni magazine for Spelman College, and I've done it for 20 years.
Wow.
And I think that's a testament to, the way I like to develop relationships with businesses.
Well, it also talks about your product. I mean, it's not just relationships, but you're giving them what they need.
Yeah. I also did a magazine for about 9 years for the Atlanta Hawks back in the 90s and early 2000s. And that was combined 2 of my passions.
Very good. So let's flip it. So that was some common projects. What is that? Not common, but what does the most frequent customer look like? Who's that person that you say, that's somebody that I really serve well?
That's a wide variety, but
Okay.
I do a lot of nonprofit work too.
Okay.
I enjoy doing that. In fact, I recently did a pro bono, which I don't do a lot of, but I got to pay the bills. But I did a pro bono project for Wisdom Project 2030. It's called Plan in a Can. My wife is actually on that project with several women in Gainesville area, and it's just a fantastic project. They take old recycled tennis cans, and they you eventually put all your medical information on there, and keep it on top of your refrigerator. And the EMTs know to look for that. So when they come take you to the hospital, you have all that information in there, and they don't have to go searching for it. So I enjoy doing nonprofit work like that.
And that's one of the things we talk about a lot, is that when we talk to business owners and people that have been working in the community, there seems to be a common theme of giving back and paying it forward, in the place where we work and live and kids grow up, so to speak.
Yeah, another thing, since we moved to Gainesville 2 years ago, I did want to get involved in the community, and I joined Chamber of Commerce, which was a good move because I wouldn't be here without it,
Right.
because that's where Joy found me. But the other thing is I got involved with the promotional committee for Main Street Gainesville, which is in a transition now with leadership. So, but that's something I hope to contribute to in the future too.
Well, somebody out there saying, hey, you know what, the graphic design, I might need, so there's a project, something that was said. What's the best way to find out more? Is it just a consultation, website? What do you think?
Well, actually, I think you can just Google graphic designers in Gainesville and my name might pop up.
All right,
But-
hopefully.
Yeah, no, it does right below the ads. But just Garon Hart, GaronHart.com is my website, and you can find all the information on there and how to contact me.
So I'm going to ask the same question I asked Amanda earlier: is what would you say this far in the journey? Biggest lessons?
Pretty far journey.
Been a few lessons, huh?
Yeah, it's been a few lessons. I think just customer relations and just how to, treat people with dignity and respect, and it comes back.
There you go, Bill. Always comes back to relationships, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And I think now the term that we started out with a long time ago was customer service. I like to use the word customer care instead, because I've seen plenty of times that people serviced me, but I know that they didn't care for me. And I also like Joseph Michelli, who has written so much on the topic, his term, customer experience. You want them to have an experience.
Well, that's a new term, user experience as far as websites, but that goes to even brochures or books or whatever. The easier it is to use, the better and effective it'll be.
Well, Garon, thanks so much for joining us on North Georgia Business Radio X and for sharing with us. And did you have one thing, I want you one more time to give us how to read the website, and then tell us a little bit about this book that you brought in. I saw the University of Georgia, and all of us here are fans of the University
of Georgia. We got 4 Bulldogs sitting here at the table.
That was pure luck. I knew that you guys were involved, but I didn't know Amanda was going to be here, and I knew she was a graduate. But about 9 years ago, I created this self-published book. I spent about a year and a half every pretty weekend going to Athens and taking photographs. And so there's about 140 photographs of all the major buildings on campus and some treasured landmarks. And throughout the book, there are recollections from prominent alumni, including Sonny Seiler, Dan McGill, Vince Dooley. And you might not say Vince Dooley's an alumni, but he does take courses there, and so technically he's an alumni.
Well, how do we find that? Can we get a copy of that somewhere?
You sure can. It's in the bookstore in Athens, and a couple of gift shops in Athens, but mainly you can get it on Amazon.com. It's called University of Georgia Images and Recollections, and there's also a website, oldcollegepress.com.
You talk about a Christmas gift. That looks like a coffee table book we need.
It's a beautiful book. I had an opportunity to thumb through it a minute or two ago. It's a gorgeous book.
Well, Garon,
thank you very much.
Again, thanks for bringing in the samples, and thanks for being on North Georgia Business Radio X and sharing with us today.
My pleasure. I appreciate it.
We can read his samples and eat hers.
That's right. And Amanda Wilbanks with Southern Baked Pie Company, thanks so much for sharing with us today.
Thank you for having me. It was wonderful.
Dr. Bill, another great show.
Very fascinating, very fascinating. Particularly as we approach the holiday season, we think about desserts and we think about design as well.
And we'll see you next time, right here, same place, on North Georgia Business Radio X.